The Electronic Entertainment Expo, also known as E3, is a major event in the video game industry. To give a brief history, E3 was an annual trade event for the video game industry organized and presented by the Entertainment Software Association. It was first held in 1995 in LA, California. It was created as a replacement for the Consumer Electronics Show, which had previously been the primary venue for video game announcements. The goal of E3 was to give video game announcements, live demonstrations, and major reveals that set the tone for the upcoming year in gaming. Unfortunately, E3 had been canceled in 2020 due to COVID-19, and in 2021 it transitioned to a virtual format. The next year in 2022, E3 was canceled, and at the time of making this video, the future events of E3 remain uncertain. But for this video, I want to focus on the E3 event in Japan that took place in Tokyo in November of 1996 and why it failed. In the beginning, the earliest days of the home video game industry that showcased new products happened at CES. The annual trade show focuses on different kinds of consumer electronics which are not open to the public. As video games started to become extremely popular in the 1990s, there needed to be a separate trade show of its own, so E3 was created. At the time, a lot of major gaming companies were Japanese. E3 felt like it didn't make sense to debut the Japanese games in an American venue. The Interactive Digital Software Association, trade association behind E3, attempted to rectify this with a Japanese E3 that would take place in Tokyo. E3 Tokyo 96 received little cooperation from the console manufacturers. Sony Computer Entertainment was the show's original sponsor. The company withdrew support in favor of its PlayStation Expo. Sega then pulled out at the last minute. Nintendo was the only one that attended, and the show ended up being a major failure. So why did this exactly happen? Well, one major reason why E3 Tokyo 96 failed was because Japan already had its own major gaming show at the time called Tokyo Game Show that happened a few months earlier in 1996. Organized by these business publications, the Tokyo Game Show was held twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. And unlike E3 and other trade shows, the Tokyo Game Show was open to the public during the last 2 days of the multi-day event. Before long, the Tokyo Game Show became the show of choice for manufacturers to show off their new products. As of right now, the Tokyo Game Show still holds events every year. E3 never made another attempt to hold a trade show in Japan, and E3 rumors were being mentioned of hosting events in Singapore and Canada, but it never took place. A funny story did take place involving E3 and the East Coast. E3 was planning on hosting again at the LA Convention Center, but due to failed negotiations for the convention space in LA, the E3 conventions in 1997 and 98 were held at the Georgia World Congress Center in Atlanta, Georgia. As you probably know, the turnout of these shows were way lower than the first two E3s that were held in LA. A major factor was that there had been a declining number of game developers and the fact that many of the video game companies were based and founded on the West Coast, making the cost of sending staff and equipment to Atlanta a pain in the ass. Afterwards, E3 stayed in LA for the time being. Anyways, I hope you found this video informative. See you guys next time, and thanks for watching.